There is a lot of excitement down here at the Pensacola Bay Center. It's the 10th annual Sportsman's Night Out, sponsored by Marcus Point Baptist Church, Pastor Gordon Godfrey. We're going to have interviews with Willie Robertson of Duck Dynasty, Hank Parker, the Hall of Famer bass fisherman, hunting show, TV host extraordinaire. There is just so much happening here. Nearly $200,000 in value of merchandise and hunting trips is going to be given out tonight. But more than that, you're going to hear some great testimonies from these guys about how the Lord Jesus has made an impact in their life. And it's just a lot happening here at the Civic Center. We're going to be showing you highlights of it all, plus so much more on this special Coast Up Close. There's a lot of stuff going on around down here at the Bay Center for Sportsman's Night Out. Man, oh man.
I'm well. We're here to see Duck Dynasty star Willie Robertson and to hear what God's doing.
I love it.
What's up, everybody? I've been praying every day for about 3 weeks that the Holy Spirit would fill this room. I know we're here to give away campers and tractors and fishing trips, but I'm praying that hundreds of people get saved today. So I'm excited.
Okay, very good. Wow, salty. Now this would be cool. I would like this right here. Oh man.
Yeah, I'm Willie Robertson. I'm at the Sportsman's Night Out here in Pensacola, Florida, and I think it's an outreach night for the church here, and so I've done a few of these things, and I'm always excited to be in, especially a beautiful place like this. But yeah, I think we're just going to try to talk about a little outdoor stuff, and I'll tell a few funny stories about my family, and and try to get the good news in there as well, and try to help some people out.
I'm here to support the event here in Marks Point and to, of course, see Willie Robertson. It's a way to share with the community, just not only the sportsman night, but also, the community, the unity of it all, and just to meet people.
Hunters involved. In the Bible, you see all sorts of references to people doing normal, everyday things. You got fishers of men. You have the disciples, they were fishermen. We're fishermen, we're hunters. And so they can use what they do to glorify God. If we can get a bunch of people together that have one purpose and then share the gospel with them, that's the best opportunity ever. Because there's a lot of people that'll come to Sportsman Night Out, but not necessarily come into a church building. So if you can share the gospel, I'm in. Count me there.
This gets all of our local community together in a very exciting environment. You get to see and hear new speakers. You get to hear a little bit about the Lord as well, and an opportunity to win a lot of prizes. Example would be this Lindeli Safaris. We're giving away hunts tonight. We've been twice with this company, and they are like family. We love them. But getting together, look at all these people. It's amazing. And we get to support our hunting environment, fishing, and just the great outdoors that God created. Well, the Lord actually is a big part of my life. But God created all this beautiful world that we get to see with our hunting, our fishing, our outdoors. So what I want tonight is for everybody to hear just a little bit about what God has done for the speakers that we've had. For people like me, He changed my life. And now I get to share the gospel with a lot of people. And you know what? What better way than to get it together in a community like this? Pensacola needs the Lord just like everybody else.
Yeah, it just shows what God's doing, and no matter what occupation you have, you can live for the Lord and give it for His glory.
I'm so happy to be with my good friend, Pastor Gordon Godfrey, for the 10th anniversary of Sportsman's Night Out. Can you believe it?
It's incredible. I mean, the first year we had 300 people, David, in the gym of our church. And now we're at the Civic Center. And
it's packed. The door. It's not going to start for another hour. I couldn't even find a parking spot.
That's a good deal. I like that, David. It's going to be good. This year we got Willie Robertson and we've got Hank Parker. Both are going to be speaking. Yes. And it's going to be a great night.
Sharing their story and most importantly, their faith. And that, of course, is your driving force here about all this, the motivation for this entire event.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a fundraiser. This is an event of outreach. We're trying to reach out in the community, touch as many lives as we possibly can. And of course, Willie loves God, Hank loves God, and they're both going to share their stories. And I think we're going to see a lot of changed lives.
And not only that, we're going to be giving away a ton of stuff.
Oh man, we're giving away a brand new camper from Carpenter's Campers. We're giving away a brand new Kubota tractor from Coastal Machinery. Listen to this, 2 complete home air conditioning systems from Florida Air and Heating. I mean, you're talking about $16,000 a piece for those things. And we're giving those away, plus a deer hunt to Ohio and guns from Mike's Outdoor. It's going to be fantastic.
It's incredible. Pastor, you are just on the cutting edge of community outreach and what you're doing at Marcus Point and your whole team. It's just it's a great gift to the whole area, the region, Marcus Point Baptist Church, and we're just honored to be a partner with this man and with this church.
Yeah, faith is the number one thing that my family centers around. Really because if it weren't for our faith, our family wouldn't even be together. My family was headed towards divorce and disaster, and it's where a man came and spoke to my dad, and actually mom and dad both, and gave them the gospel. They obeyed it, and a lot has changed since then. So we're so thankful. We actually just made a movie about it called The Blind. Be out September 28th, and it actually shows that where they kind of cross that line of faith. And really, when you go back to that situation, if that doesn't happen, then I'm not standing here right now. My life looks completely different. So that's kind of the message that I try to tell everybody that's, when I go do events like this, is you never know. I mean, that's how powerful the gospel can be, and that's how it impacted our life, and that's why it's so impactful to us, and that's what I want to share with others.
Hey man, this is a great event. Sportsman's Night Out, Marcus Point Baptist Church puts it on. My friend Gordon Godfrey, I've known Gordon for over 40 years. I mean, we go back a long way. But the reason I'm here is to give my testimony on what Jesus Christ has done in my life. Most important thing, I go everywhere, I talk about hunting and fishing, and I love all of that, but that's all rust and dust. It's all about Jesus, and tonight I get the chance to give my testimony. The question, what about Jesus? The furthest thing from my mind, people say that a lot, and hey, I've been there. I've been there when I wanted no part of it. My dad was a drunk, and I saw him make a dramatic change after he received his salvation, and he became a witness to me, and I watched his life change, and I ran from it, man. I was just a kid. I thought I had all the time in the world. And then when I realized Jesus stands at the door and knocks, I got tired of running. I got tired of living a lie. And I'm going to tell you, it's all about Jesus. So for people that don't know, that's out there saying, Jesus, what about that? It's everything. And without him, there's nothing. There is no hope. We're looking at a country that's upside down right now with hate, division, and the only peace you'll ever find is in Jesus.
The hope for America is that, I think hopefully a lot of people I think need to probably repent and turn back to God and, realize that the principles of what this country was started on was from the Bible. And so, it seems like the further we get away from that, the more problems we have. And I think that's us as people. I think individually it's like that, but certainly you can see that in our country. But America has a way of, ups and downs, and seems to find its way. So hopefully she can do that. And I think it takes us, us as believers, giving people a different way and a different path.
The secret of catching a big bass. A lot of people ask me if I could give them one tip, what would that one tip be that would make them a better fisherman? And it's without a doubt, get rid of that job. A job will mess you up. So go off, and people say, well, I like to fish early in the morning or late in the afternoon. When do you like to fish? I say go early and stay late. If it happens, you'll be there. So that's the key to catch a big bass. And at my dad's funeral, my brother and I both accepted Jesus Christ. Everything changed. Everything changed in my life, boy. I tell you, all those times I lied to my dad about having peace for the first time ever. I had peace. 48 years later, I still got that same peace. Our country's in a mess. Our country's in a mess. There's so much hate. There's so much division. Man, it is crazy. But you know, I got an incredible peace because my hope's not in Washington. My hope's in Jesus Christ, and everything is fine. I cannot lose. I can't lose. Man, if I live, good. If I die, you know, Paul. They told Paul, we're going to cut your head off. He said, good, to die is the gain. They said, well, we're going to let you live. He said, good, to live is Christ. You can't lose. Man, and I have peace. I got this incredible peace. And now I get the opportunity, I have the opportunity to go all over this country and tell people about Jesus.
Show, there would be a family show. No cursing, no nudity, no fighting. We'd celebrate happy marriages. The people in Hollywood wasn't sure that would work. And did you know that that show that was so different ended up being the most watched unscripted television show in the history of cable television? And you may be like Phil. You may need a complete overhaul of your entire life. You may have to come to the end of yourself and open up to something else. And thank God he got to that point. Because if not, none of this happens. Generational change, changes in the entertainment, changes in television, podcasting, movies. Isn't that crazy what God can do? Don't sell God short. Don't sell someone short that you're looking at, that you know, somebody at your family going, I don't think they're ever going to change. Leave it to God. Leave it to the gospel. Let it do its work.
Just that, hey, this is a super event. I'm very privileged to be able to hang out and rub elbows with Willie. What a great guy he is, and what a footprint his family has left. You know, they've got all the success in the world, but yet they prioritize Jesus Christ in their life. I'm proud to be on stage with him. I'm proud to know him and his dad and his whole family. How awesome it is to be here. Wish everybody was here. Great event.
I think it's it. You know, I had a great time here. I love being in this area. I love this part of the world, and some great people, and love visiting, and wish you guys all the best.
And the doctors never did come out and tell me, you know, that medically I would never, you know, walk again. But it was apparent. It was, you know, seemingly a permanent thing. It was a bitter pill to swallow. Well, I was born and raised in this beautiful beach town of Pensacola, Florida, into a very active family. Fortunately, not only was my family very active, but we were a strong Christian family. And I had a new birth experience at 8 years old, but there was no reality to that relationship. It was just going to church through the motions. You know, that was the thing to do. One particular summer, though, we were on a whitewater rafting trip. That's another thing that we love to do. But this particular summer in 1978, we were doing the Salmon River up in Idaho. I remember it was the second day of this 5-day trip. It was a beautiful morning. Probably about an 8-10 mile, trip downriver on the rafts. You know, they're big rafts. Got off the river probably around 5 o'clock, set up tent. That's the first thing we do. Get ready for the night. And while they're kind of preparing supper, the guides we're doing our thing with the campsite. And I can remember setting up the tent early in a way. So I had at least an hour to spare before supper. So that's when I decided I would just explore the region, maybe see what kind of mischief I could get into. 300 yards away or so from the campsite, I saw this cliff. Thought, you know what, that'll be a fun challenge right there. Let me get up on top of that plateau and look down the river. Not afraid of heights, 15-year-old bulletproof, kid. I thought, yeah, no sweat. I started to free climb up, no climbing experience per se, no ropes, just gonna free climb this wall. And right as I'm getting up to the top of the plateau, I believe it was a root that was sticking out of the wall there that I felt like was more secure than it was, and it pulled out of the wall, and that's when I free fell down, 40-foot free fall into the boulders. When I hit, I bounced down, went on down the boulders further distance, and came to a stop probably about 30 feet or so away from the initial impact. I woke up just very confused and in shock, literally, about what had just happened. And obviously I didn't show up for supper, so they had a search party find me about an hour or so later, called in a bush pilot that said he could land on top of this pasture where we were. And so with just literally a minute to spare, he did land and got me out of there. Went on to a nearby town and stabilized there from critical condition, to stable. Then ended up flying home here back to Pensacola for this massive back surgery where they fused some vertebrae in. There I lay, in just recovery at a local hospital here, completely dumbfounded and confused, and there was just so much just emotion and anger and just thinking life was over, frankly, and thinking that no more sports, no more baseball, no more skiing, no more anything. There's a lot of denial that goes in on situations like this. It's very common. And I was not immune to that, just not really, accepting maybe what had happened in a way. It was one way to kind of deal with it. At the same token, though, there were obviously times that I knew the severity of it. One night in the hospital, the window was open and looking, I could see the stars, and I can remember thinking, God, this is an impossible situation, but you put those stars into existence. You're the creator of this universe. What is a spinal cord to you? I remember that little nugget of hope and faith there, realizing that, was part of that sort of transformation, early transformation, to go after him. My grandmother's pastor came to pray with me. And when that happened, I knew something was different. He had a presence, a power there. And I told my mom, I said, listen, when I get out of rehab, I'd like to go to Grandma's church, because Pastor Barg, I like him, and he has what I need, I believe. And so that's exactly what happened. A couple months later, of course, but we started going to First Assembly, and man, the Holy Spirit was so real there, something, again, I was not used to, but I really needed and helped me so much. And as I began to, just grow like a rocket spiritually in those years after my accident, I had a job my first job out of high school was at a Christian radio station. I went to college and took video courses and liked that even more. And so when I graduated with a comm arts degree with an emphasis in broadcasting, this brand new Christian TV station was coming to the area. I started the day this TV station signed on the air in January '86, and I've been there ever since, 37 years and counting, in full-time Christian ministry with the word going forth 24/7. It's an awesome feeling to be a part of a mission that does such a valuable work. And I met this amazing, awesome, gorgeous blonde named Beverly at that time, and in '94 we wed, and she had an 8-year-old boy at the time, and so I became an instant stepdad, and that became just the love of my life. Obviously, that was the second best decision behind the Lord was meeting and marrying Beverly, and now we have a 4-year-old grandson named Jackson. And just the legacy of that youngin, is very special. Obviously, we want to leave our mark, in the kingdom on our family. I live by this saying, where there's a will, there's a way, and I figure out ways to do things that people don't think that I can. Sort of almost fight through adversity of learning new things. Snow skiing, for example, it took me, several trips just to be able to go down the slope on this mono ski, because I was falling every 20 feet, it seemed like. And now, as we've been going every year since the 90s, I'm on Black Diamond, mogul runs through the trees. There's nothing I won't try to do now. I took up cycling in a big way and started competing in that, going to races throughout the country on my hand cycle, doing road races, time trials, criteriums. And in 2015, I did 5,000 miles that year, which was no small feat. Adversity hits every one of us. None of us are immune from hardship, tragedy even. The Lord is there as your help and as a refuge, as a source that you can turn to, not blame, that He's there to get you through it. While it may be, difficult and hard, a lot of frustration through it, but inside, He has joy for us. It's our strength. So just muster up that endurance that's inside of you to get you through anything life can throw.
I'm often asked, who am I? As a matter of fact, there are so many facets of my life. So I'm Elvita Celeste King. I am a servant, a handmaiden of the Most High God. And I use all of my gifts, talents, and abilities to glorify God in the earth. Many, many years ago, I was conceived in 1950 to Alfred Daniel Williams King and Naomi Ruth Barber, who would become Mrs. King. That was 1950. So my mom wanted to do a procedure that was introduced to her by the Birth Control League or Planned Parenthood. So she was going to eliminate my life through an exploratory procedure called the DNC. Her mother said, let's talk to our pastor, the Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. He said, no, that's an abortion. You can't do this. I saw this child, it's a little girl, in a dream 3 years ago. She has bright skin and bright red hair. I called it a prophetic ultrasound. I was born on January 22nd, 1951. And for many years of my life, that was known as Roe v. Wade Day, because abortion became legal in 1973 on January 22nd. So all of that happened. And between the time of my birth and 1983, when I was born again, I was divorced, I had abortions and a miscarriage. And then I was born again in 1983, and I confessed my sins, even the ones that I felt I wasn't responsible for. Abortion was part of that. And then I realized that the baby in the womb is a human being. My famous uncle, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., would say, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I asked the question, how can the dream survive if we murder our children? A woman has a right to choose what she does with her body. The baby's not her body. And that message began in 1983, and I've been asking that question ever since. How can the dream survive if we murder our children? People will say to me, especially in my own community, and when I say my own community, just for a moment, the African American community, but see, there's only one human race, so skin color. We're just human beings with different ethnicities, which is a beautiful thing. However, in the African American community, as a Black woman, people say, you talk about your abortion in public, you say you had one, what's wrong with you? We don't do that. And so I remember times, and I'd be talking about abortion, and I've had angry women come up to me. Don't do that. We don't do that. What's wrong with you? I have a right to an abortion. You had abortions. You had a right to an abortion. I said, and I had a right to fight off breast cancer, cervical cancer, mental depression, drugs, and alcohol. I said, I had the right to deal with all of that, and bless God, I have. And I would like to help you not go through that. And so when people get angry and push back and say I'm against women's rights, of course I'm not. I'm a woman. I'm a 73-year-old woman. As we record this, somebody see it later, I don't know how old God's gonna let me be. However, those are little girls in the womb. Sometimes they're little boys, but little girls. And so if I don't stand up for the little girls in the womb, what's gonna happen to my heart? Many times in this journey since 1983, there have been women who consider abortion who cross my path. I have said many, many times, and now I have many goddaughters and god babies and god grandbabies and godsons who chose life. Many, I can't even count them anymore. And so I've always said, you don't have to do this. There is another way. As a matter of fact, I will help you. I will be there. So if you're going to take something away from somebody, if we're going to take abortion away, then we have to give something better. So I always say, you don't have to do that. Let us help you. And you have to be ready to help. God continually moves in my life, reminding me, even of the day I said, okay, I will be a voice for life. At the very beginning, I remember when my heart was stirred. I was a born-again Christian. I had had abortions, and I began to give my testimony publicly. At the time, I had been a state legislator, an actress, a singer, popular. I was wealthy, a millionaire, married to a fabulous husband at the time. And as I began to talk about abortion, all of that broke up and fell away. And right at this particular time in my life, sometimes I get canceled from events and things today, right now. Oh, we thought about inviting you, however, because you are like this and you're like this, no, we don't want you to come. And I remember God told me that would happen, but then God reminds me of just those people, men and women and children, who have been touched by my saying yes, by my agreeing. And I remember those conversations with God, and I'm able to continue and to go on. It's always wonderful to meet brothers and sisters along the journey who will come and lock hearts and arms, faith, hope, and love with repentance and forgiveness. It begins in the home with those parents moving to the church and the broader parts of the community. And there's a little song I sing all the time. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Now my own light is bright and it could dispel some darkness, but when everybody lights that candle, it's brilliant and Christ shines. So it takes a community that begins in the home with the parents, and it grows. It just grows.
Wow, what a night here at the 10th Annual Sportsman's Night Out, brought to you by Marcus Point Baptist Church. Incredible evening, and we're going to have to wrap up the show, though. What a time it's been here at the Pensacola Bay Center, and we just know that there are scores and scores of people that are touched by the gospel most of all. And, of course, all the wonderful vendors that brought all these amazing giveaways. Just incredible. But we want to thank Gordon Godfrey, the pastor, for his leadership and what they do in the community and making this area a much better place to live. Thank you, Pastor, and Marcus Point. Be blessed. We'll be back somewhere, sometime along the Gulf Coast, having a good time in Him.